Hey guys, thanks a lot for watching. In this video, I'm going to do some brief Bitcoin analysis. And pretty much this whole week, we've been in the sideways range with the support level around here and the resistance around here. And whilst I keep saying, I do believe that Bitcoin eventually does tag between 9 to 12k, and of course 13.9k from the 2019 high, and also 10.5k is a really key level on the weekly chart and is a key order block. I'm just saying, be open to the possibility that we could be in a sideways range. And the problem with people that always try to predict bottoms and tops is, you might be right, but the time it gets there could take a lot longer than you can imagine. I know this might be an unpopular opinion, but based on my other further analysis and technical analysis, I actually do believe that we do not actually see a new low until 2023, and we might just be trapped in the sideways range. And I've been saying this for a while now. I do believe that, based on my analysis, that 15.5 to 16k is the new 18k, and this 17.5 to 18.5k region, that could potentially be the new 20k, and we could be in the new sideways range. And we all know how long it took for Bitcoin to just dance between 18 to 20k. It just felt like a lifetime. And so just be open to the possibility that we could be in a sideways range. And we have been in the sideways range for a while, and I've got some really good successful trades last week because I've just been trading the ranges. In particular, we've had some false breaks, and particularly you've got buyers who buy here and sellers that sell here, and people who short here, and so you get this overshoot. So I shorted that, and I bought this as well. I got stopped at once, but then I re-entered two longs, and I got in a successful trade now as well. And it's just trading the ranges, I think, in this situation. Of course, there are certain imbalances as well that can easily get filled. In particular, this region, it's not been completely filled here. And another region to consider as well is this 15.9k region. Very often I've noticed a trend in which price goes up and then people forget about the habits of market makers and the fair value gaps that are left behind. And so just, even if we do run up to 18.5k and 19k, we could always dump back below to these liquidity zones. If we do get above here, and why I don't rush into shorting is because of a couple of situations, especially on the daily chart. If you notice, we have a fair bit of imbalances, especially, and imbalances often when there's a huge dump like this, there's so much selling pressure that buyers just don't have a chance to catch up. And between this wick here and wick here, this whole region between 18.5k to 20k is a huge imbalance, and the price could definitely go up there to just fill this imbalance, even if we do dump below. Be open to the possibility that we could be in a sideways range. Another thing to also notice is that recently we had this dump, and this is another example of how textbook works so different to real life. So over here, if you notice, we had this shoulder here, and this top here, and so many people are like, oh, this is a head and shoulder. But as I always say, I'm not a fan of trading based on patterns, especially as patterns are not really time tested and don't always work purely trading based on it. And here we actually dumped, and so you should only trade patterns based on confluences, and you should not trade purely based on patterns. And we actually had a run up here as well, so it's just something to consider. And when we did have this dump here, we were in such a sideways range for such a long time. And statistically, when you do have those head and shoulder patterns, and if they are going to dump further, you would have expected it to kind of dump at this point, but we've just been trapped in the sideways range from Wednesday, 7th of December. So just back and forth. And this naked price action just purely suggests a lot of indecisiveness between buyers and sellers. And at this point, I just went long here. I had some really good successful trades this week, but then my one long I entered got stopped out. The other one, funny enough, did not fill, but then I re-entered when I saw bullish momentum. But if I just blindly put limit orders, I would have got stopped out because there would be no way to actually see this potential stop hunt. This came out of nowhere, actually. And always pay attention. You have this psychological low here, this other low here, and this was just a pure liquidity grab, I believe, and just stopping out these people, and then it ran back up. And I've also drawn this as well, in the sense that, trading in this middle range, if you're going to trade, perhaps risk a bit less. It is a grey area, and as I always say in a previous video, it's like trading in the middle of a dogfight. You're actually probability of trading is a lot higher when you actually stick to the extremes of ranges. But the problem is most people cannot wait this long. They want the dopamine fix of being in a trade. And so if you don't want to complicate things, just buy support, sell resistance. And if you reach resistance area and if you're in good profit, just take the profit. And even if you have a breakout to 18.5k, you can always rebuy back when there's a support resistance flip. And so there's always a trade for another day. But in this situation, if we do reach the top of this channel here, I'm not going to rush to shorting at all, because we could very well have a huge run up to 18.5k or 19.5k. Okay, we do have a bit of an inverse head and shoulders on the 4 here in this chart, but again, I don't really trade based on patterns purely. It's just another tool to add to the toolbox, I would say. I think also be wary of the PPI news announcement that's coming on Friday, and it's just about perhaps not having any positions open and just reacting to price once price settles down, because as we know, there's so much volatility in these price actions, and often there's just stop hunts purely. So perhaps waiting until price settles and then trading. But thanks a lot, guys, for watching. Do check out my YouTube channel, which I set up quite recently. I post Bitcoin analysis, but also other tips and tricks to really add to your toolbox in trading. But thanks a lot, guys, for watching, and I'll catch you in a bit.